Well, now, pull up a chair. It's Old Walt here. Today, I want to tell you about someone special. The most important person in my life, really. My wife, Helen. We were married for 59 years. Met her at a church social in the summer of '59. Married her in '60. She passed 6 years ago, and I miss her every single day. But you know what? Those 59 years taught me more about love, about life, about what really matters than anything else I've ever experienced. So let me tell you about Helen and what half a century together teaches you. Summer of 1959. I was 20 years old. There was a dance at the Methodist Church. One of those social events they'd put on to get young people together. My buddy Frank dragged me there. I wasn't much for dancing, to be honest. But then I saw her. Helen Anderson, 18 years old, standing by the punch bowl in a blue dress, talking with her girlfriends. She had this smile, this laugh that just lit up the whole room. I must have stood there staring like an idiot for 5 minutes before Frank elbowed me and said, "You going to ask her to dance or just stand there all night?" So I walked over, heart pounding like crazy, asked her if she'd like to dance. She said yes. And that was it. That was the moment my whole life changed. We danced to Only You by the Platters. I stepped on her feet twice. She didn't seem to mind. We talked the rest of the night. Just talked. About everything. Where we grew up, what we wanted to do with our lives, what we thought about things. Turns out she'd lived 3 streets over from me our whole lives. I'd probably walked past her house 100 times and never knew she existed. By the end of that night, I knew 2 things. 1, I was going to marry that girl. And 2, I was the luckiest guy in Bloomington. We courted for about a year. That's what we called it back then. Courting. Not like today where people just, I don't know, swipe on their phones or whatever. We went on proper dates. I'd pick her up at her parents' house. Her father would sit me down in the living room, ask me questions while Helen finished getting ready upstairs. Making sure I was serious, I suppose. We'd go to the movies, to diners, on walks through the park. Simple stuff, but it meant something. I saved up for months to buy her an engagement ring. Wasn't much. Small diamond, thin gold band. But when I proposed to her in May of '60, sitting on a bench by the lake, she cried and said yes, and I felt like the richest man alive. We got married June 12, 1960. She was 19. I was 21. Looking back now, we were babies. Didn't know the first thing about marriage or life or anything really. But we figured it out together. The early years were, well, they were an adventure. We got a little apartment on the south side. 1 bedroom, tiny kitchen, bathroom the size of a closet. But it was ours. I was working for the phone company. Helen worked as a secretary until we had our first baby in '62. Money was tight. Real tight. I remember one month we were so broke we ate beans and rice for 2 weeks straight. Helen would try to make it different each time. Beans and rice with a little hot sauce. Beans and rice with some onions. Fried rice with beans mixed in. We'd sit at that little table in our tiny kitchen and laugh about it. About how fancy we were eating our gourmet beans. Those were good days. Hard, but good. Helen had this way about her. She could make anything feel okay. When I'd come home frustrated about work, she'd listen. Really listen. Not trying to fix it, just being there. When money was tight and I'd worry about how we'd make rent, she'd remind me that we had each other, that we'd figure it out. And we always did. We had our first son, Bobby, in '62, then Carrie in '65. Mike came along in '69. Helen was an amazing mother, patient in ways I could never be. She'd spend hours with those kids, reading to them, playing games, teaching them things. I'd come home from work and she'd have dinner ready. The house would be cleaned. The kids would be bathed and in their pajamas. People today, they talk about how that wasn't fair, how she should have had her own career, her own life outside of us. And maybe they're right. But you know what? Helen never once complained. She loved being a mother, loved taking care of us. Later, when the kids were older, she went back to work, part-time at the library, and she loved that too. But those early years raising our babies, she always said those were the best years of her life. Marriage isn't always easy, though. People don't tell you that part. They show you the wedding, the honeymoon, the happy moments. But they don't show you the fights, the hard years, the times when you're not sure if you're going to make it. We had those times too. There was a stretch in the '70s. Money problems, stress from work, 3 kids running around. We fought a lot. About stupid things mostly. Whose turn it was to do the dishes. Why I was working so much. Why she seemed tired all the time. One night we had a big fight. Can't even remember what it was about now. But it was bad. I slept on the couch. Next morning I woke up and Helen had made coffee. Set a cup on the table for me like she always did. I came into the kitchen and she looked at me and said, "We're not doing this. We're not going to bed angry anymore. We're not going to let the little things become big things." And you know what? We didn't. From that day on, we made a rule. No matter how mad we were, we'd talk it out before bed. We'd say sorry if we needed to. We'd remember why we loved each other. Some nights, that meant staying up till midnight hashing things out. But we did it, because the marriage mattered more than being right. The thing about being married for that long, you grow together. You change, both of you. The person you married at 20 isn't the same person at 40 or 60 or 80. Helen wasn't the same girl I met at that church dance. She got lines around her eyes. Her hair went gray. Her hands got a little slower, a little shakier. But you know what? I loved every version of her. The young girl in the blue dress, the tired mother with baby spit up on her shoulder, the grandmother teaching our grandkids to bake cookies. All of it. All of her. Because love isn't about perfection. It's about choosing someone every single day, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. We had our routines, Helen and I. Every morning we'd have coffee together on the porch. Didn't matter if it was summer or winter. We'd bundle up if we had to. We'd sit there watching the birds at the feeder she'd set up. Sometimes we'd talk. Sometimes we'd just be quiet together. That comfortable silence. That's how you know you found the right person. When you can sit together without saying a word and feel completely at peace. Sunday mornings we'd read the paper together. She'd do the crossword. I'd read the sports section. Our feet would touch under the table. Friday nights after the kids moved out, we'd watch our shows together. She'd fall asleep on my shoulder halfway through, every single time. I miss those routines more than anything. In 2019, Helen got sick. Started with her feeling tired all the time. Then the doctor visits. Then the tests. Cancer. Pancreatic. They gave her maybe 6 months. She lasted 4. Those last months, they were the hardest of my life. Watching her get weaker. Watching her hurt. Knowing there was nothing I could do to fix it. But you know what she said to me? About 2 weeks before she passed, she said, "Walt, I don't have any regrets. We had a good life. We raised good kids. We loved each other well." And then she squeezed my hand and said, "Thank you for dancing with me that night." She died on a Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. I was holding her hand. The kids were there. She just closed her eyes and stopped breathing. 60 years, gone in a moment. People ask me sometimes, "What's the secret? How do you stay married that long?" And I don't know if there's one answer, but I can tell you what Helen and I did. We chose each other every day, even when it was hard. We said sorry when we messed up, and we meant it. We didn't go to bed angry. We laughed together, a lot, even about the hard stuff. We made time for each other. Coffee on the porch, Friday night TV, small things that added up to a life. We remembered that marriage isn't 50-50. Some days it's 90-10. Some days you carry more weight. Some days they do. And that's okay. We didn't expect perfection from each other or from ourselves. And most importantly, we loved each other. Not just the feeling, but the action, the choice, the commitment. Love isn't just something you feel. It's something you do. Every single day. I still talk to her sometimes. I know that sounds crazy. I'll be sitting on the porch with my coffee in the morning and I'll tell her about the kids, about what Bobby's up to, or how Carrie's grandkids are doing. I'll tell her about something funny I saw, or something that reminded me of her. Sometimes I forget she's not there. I'll make 2 cups of coffee instead of 1. I'll turn to say something to her and she's not there. That's the hardest part, the forgetting and then the remembering. But I'm grateful, so grateful. Not everyone gets 59 years with the love of their life. Not everyone gets to grow old with their person. I got to wake up next to Helen for over 21,000 mornings. That's a gift. I got to raise 3 kids with her, see 7 grandkids, build a whole life together. I got to hold her hand when she died, got to tell her I loved her one last time. Not everyone gets that. If you're married or in love or thinking about spending your life with someone, here's what I'd tell you. It won't always be easy. There will be hard days, hard years even. But if you found someone who makes you laugh, who you can sit in silence with, who you choose even when it's difficult, hold on to them. Don't take them for granted. Don't assume there's always tomorrow. Tell them you love them every day, even when they know, especially when they know. Do the small things. Make the coffee. Hold their hand. Sit on the porch together. Because someday one of you won't be there anymore. And all you'll have left is the memories, the routines, the moments you built together. Make sure those moments are good ones. Make sure they know they were loved. Oh, and before I go, if you like this story, you might want to check out the one I told last time about my brother Tommy, about not leaving things unsaid. I think it goes hand in hand with this one. Well, that's all I've got for today. Thank you for letting me tell you about Helen. It helps, talking about her, keeping her memory alive. If you've got someone you love, go tell them. Right now. Don't wait. This is Old Walt. Take care of yourself, and take care of the people you love. I'll see you next time.